Time now for an in-depth look at the market news on this Friday, and for that I'm joined on the line by Mr. Daniel Yu, global strategist at Yuanta Securities. Mr. Yu, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, now, oil prices were up overnight by a record-breaking amount, about 25%. President Trump's talking about a huge cut in oil production, and Saudi Arabia wants to sit down with Russia and other OPEC countries to settle this price war. What do you make of all this?
Sure. The volatility still remains quite high, but nevertheless, the oil price had recovered quite significantly in the first time that we've seen in the last several weeks. The reason for that is because the President Trump have said that he had spoken to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and as well as the Putin of Russia, and he had said that they are agreeing to maybe as much as 10 million to 15 million barrels output cut soon. Because of that, we had seen the oil price rise as high as $27.39 per barrel for WTI. But during the day today, it did drop somewhat to as low as below $24 because people were doubting that maybe this is not going to go through because we haven't heard anything about the U.S. side of the production cut. So people were doubting that maybe the Saudi Arabia or the Russia might not come through with this deal. However, though, if you look at the afternoon right now, the oil price is rising back up to $25.6 per barrel WTI, rising by about 1%. Reason for that is because there's a news that the OPEC plus countries will be meeting together through the video conference on the 6th of April. Which is next Monday. So with that news, it seems that people are actually expecting that the cut of production might happen. If that's the case, then we think that the oil price can rise back up to maybe as high as $35 per barrel.
Well, now this move in oil prices seems to have in part sent stocks higher in the U.S. and Europe, not here in Asia today, though. What's happening in the stock markets?
Right. As you said, the U.S. market, as well as the European market, did quite strong run yesterday. The reason for that is because of the oil price rise, and that this is putting some positive news for the market movement. At the beginning of yesterday's U.S. market, the major concern about the huge surge in the unemployment ratios of U.S. The unemployment benefit is surged to 6.648 million last week. And if that news is actually the truth, then you are looking at unemployment ratio of U.S. going up to as high as 5% plus, and some people are estimating they might go up to as high as 15%. That is equal to 24 million Americans losing jobs. With that news, the market kind of tanked, but because of the oil news came through, and that resulted into quite significant rise of U.S. market. Despite the uncertainty of the economic conditions, the Dow was up by 2.24%, S&P was up 2.28%, Nasdaq was up 1.7%. However, though, Asian market did not do too well today because of the concern about this oil price. It might not be the case where the negotiation might not come through. That was the concern. But we'll see how that plays out. It seems that the futures market of U.S. seems to be recovering somewhat nicely. Clearly, there's a lot of doubts and uncertainties remaining in terms of the economic growth rate as well as oil price. So because of that, the volatility of the global market will probably remain to be quite high over the next couple of weeks.
Well, because of the economic impact of the coronavirus, credit ratings agencies like Moodys and S&P are downgrading or looking at downgrading their ratings for dozens of major Korean companies. What does this mean for these companies?
Right. As you said, credit rating of the companies that are lacking cash flows will be probably downgraded. If you hear some of the news coming through on the retail business of Korea, it's quite gloomy. Many hotels, various retail-related companies are suffering due to the coronavirus impact. So duty-free shops are down significantly by like 90%, hotels down by 90% in cash flow, department stores down by 38%, etc. So clearly, this is a major concern for some of these companies. However, though, because of the government's providing a major support through using fiscal and monetary policies, we think the liquidity condition for some of the companies will be quite reasonably okay. Because of this, we have seen Kospi, despite all the concern, it did kind of close at fairly reasonably okay today. Kospi was up slightly by 0.04%, and Kosdaq was up quite strongly by about 0.94%. We are seeing quite significant amount of the money going into the Korean equity market. We have seen the customer deposit rising by more than 20 billion US dollars and reaching 47 trillion won right now. That is quite a significant move that we haven't seen in the last 10 years of decade. So if this kind of continued inflow of domestic liquidity going into the equity market, we think that Korean market should be quite remain resilient to the coronavirus concern right now.
Got it. All right, Mr. Yu, thanks so much for coming on today and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.